It's honestly a pinch me moment every time I get to talk about this brand because I am truly such a lover and a fan of them and have been for so long and will be for the rest of my life. So let's talk about Skims. I have been wearing Skims for years. My closet truly is a testament to that. I may or may not have placed an order about 2 days ago, another little order. And by that, I mean I definitely did. And I cannot wait. I have quickly fallen in love with every collection that Skims puts out, but my favorite is their Fits Everybody line, and specifically the Fits Everybody Intimates. I am not exaggerating when I say that the underwear and bralettes are life-changing, and I am never going back to any other brand. The underwear is a game changer. It is so seamless and incredibly comfortable, and it comes in all of the styles that you could possibly ever dream of. But I have to take a second and really hype up these bralettes because I personally have always been someone that has struggled with finding bralettes that fit my body right. I feel like I'm either constantly spilling out or I'm having to adjust straps. There's always something wrong, and I'm just never truly comfortable or confident. But that was until I found the Fits Everybody Intimates collection. These intimates melt into your skin and contour your body like they were made just for you. They have the right amount of stretch while still holding you in just right. And being larger chested, I never thought that I was going to be able to feel this level of comfort out of my bralettes, but Skims has gladly proven me wrong, and the quality is unbeatable. I've never felt anything like it. I really am not sure what kind of magic they put in this line. So, with the holidays right around the corner, treat yourself or your loved ones to something that they will thank you for a lifetime. We all deserve to feel that level of comfort and confidence in what we're wearing, and the Skims Fits Everybody collection does just that. The Fits Everybody collection is available in sizes extra, extra small to 4X, and you can shop now at skims.com. After you place your order, be sure to let them know that I sent you. Select podcast in the survey and be sure to select my show in the drop-down menu that follows. And if you're looking for the perfect gifts for the whole family, Skims launched their biggest holiday shop ever, which is also available at skims.com. Hello, you guys. What is up? Welcome back to another episode of Killer Instinct. Thank you guys so much for joining me here today. If you're new here, hi, my name is Savannah and I am your host of Killer Instinct. And before we get started, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That way you never miss an episode. We post weekly here on the podcast every single Wednesday. We also post the video version onto YouTube on Wednesdays as well. So make sure you are subscribed. Now, before we jump into today's episode, I needed to hop on here and share with you guys something that I have been waiting to announce for so long. We have such an exciting announcement to share with you today, and that is that as of today, Killer Instinct has launched its very own Patreon. I cannot tell you how excited I am for you guys to finally know that this is what we're doing. This has been in the works for quite some time, and I have just been waiting for the opportunity to tell you, and I am so glad I finally am able to do so. So before we jump into it, I just want to kind of explain to you guys what you are going to be getting from this Patreon. Now, as we know, I come on here once a week and I share true crime cases with you. That is what we've been doing for 5 years. That is no different. However, when you sign on to the Patreon, which is going to be $10 a month, you will receive an extra 3 episodes a month from me. 3 full-length Killer Instinct episodes you will be able to have exclusive access to on this Patreon. But that is not all we are doing, because on the last week of every single month, we are going to be doing a live Q&A session where it's you and me every single last week of the month talking about true crime, talking about cases. On this Patreon, you will also get exclusive access to any and all announcements. You will get exclusive access to a group chat where we will place case suggestions. It is going to have it all over there, and I am so excited to see you there. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to take a moment to really just thank you guys for allowing me to even have an opportunity to have a Patreon. This has been something that I have been thinking about doing for a very long time, and I wanted to give you guys content that would be be worth your while. And I'm so excited to be able to put out 3 additional episodes for you guys every single month. So that means if you sign on for the Patreon, not only will you be getting the regular 4 Killer Instinct episodes that you guys get on a weekly basis, you will be getting an additional 3 episodes. That is 7 episodes a month, plus a live Q&A session at the very end of the month as well. So you're going to be seeing a lot of me if you want to. And I wanted to let you guys know the schedule for it as well. So the schedule for the Patreon and for these episodes is that you will receive these episodes every single Tuesday. So just as we're on here every single Wednesday, you will receive the Patreon episodes every single Tuesday, which means the first ever episode on Patreon is officially live. And just to give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek, because I've been keeping too many secrets already, we are covering the Menendez brothers as the first case on Patreon. So I'm going to have the Patreon linked in the description box below. You can also visit patreon.com/killerinstinct. I'm going to have it on my Instagram. I'm going to have it pinned in the comments below. Anywhere that you can find me, you will know where to find this Patreon. Again, that is just at patreon.com/killerinstinct. So I just wanted to really take a second and thank you guys again for even allowing me to have the opportunity to do something like this. And I also just wanted to say that if this is not something that you are able to do, if you are not able to join the Patreon for whatever reason it may be, please know that that is okay. And please know that I just appreciate you being here in general. It truly means the world to me. And you are still going to be getting the 4 episodes a month, a new episode every week. Nothing is changing. All I'm saying is if you would like additional exclusive content for me, there's now a place where you can find it. So with that being said, again, just patreon.com/killerinstinct. The links are going to be everywhere. I love you guys so much. Thank you for listening to this. And with that all being said, let's jump right back into today's episode. If you've been following along, you know that for the month of December, we have dedicated it to doing and covering episodes that have happened either on or around Christmas. And today's episode is no different. Today, we are talking about the brutal and horrific murder of Kristine Larson. Now, this case takes place in St. Paul Park, Minnesota, and this is a very close-knit community. It's a community where everyone knows everyone, and the population sits at about 5,000 people. Now, during their Christmas time specifically, this becomes a magical town. Everyone is hanging up their Christmas lights, and even though temperatures are cold outside, there is a warmth from the people in the community who provide that Midwestern kindness. It's a community that's great to raise a family in, and that is exactly what Dan and Deb Tilson decided to do. Dan and Deb Tilson have a daughter named Kristine, who was born on February 24th, 1988, and she was the youngest of her 4 siblings by 8 years, so she definitely was the baby of the family. Kristine was known to be a spitfire, and she had this zest for life that was completely unmatched. And in 2004, this is when Kristine began dating her boyfriend, and her boyfriend was named Zachary Matthews. And by 2006, Kristine and Zachary actually welcomed their first son together named Darian. And Darian was Kristine's entire world. Kristine's entire life revolved around being a mom, and Zachary was also a very hands-on dad. Kristine's parents were very supportive of her during this time and very supportive of Zachary because Zachary actually lived with Kristine and her parents throughout the duration of her pregnancy. Now, even though Zachary came from a turbulent upbringing himself, he told Kristine's family that he was determined to make a better life for him, Kristine, and their son. And Kristine was also very dedicated to providing for her son. Again, that was all she wanted to do. She wasn't a partier. She wasn't getting involved in drinking or drugs. She was actually about to graduate from bartending school, and she was going to enroll in nursing school as well. So she had a lot going for her, and her future was very bright. But unfortunately, it was cut far too short. On the night of December 19th, 2007, Kristine had made plans to make Christmas cookies with her mom, Deb. It was a tradition that they did every single Christmas. Kristine specifically made these cookies called Christ mice cookies, and they were made out of the shape of mice. And it was, again, just something that she did every year, and it was something that they all looked forward to. And the plan was to make them that night on December 19th. Deb had gotten all of the ingredients, and she had everything set out for Kristine, and she was waiting for Kristine to come home so they could begin baking. However, Kristine never made it home that night. Now, what Deb did not know at that time was that only 30 minutes away, Minneapolis 911 operators received a phone call from a man who had noticed that there was a car lit on fire in the back alley of his home. Now, initially, he only notified them about the car in general and just that it was on fire. And then when he put the fire out several minutes later, he had to call 911 again to tell them that inside of the burning car was a dead body. Now, police quickly arrived onto the scene and found the body of the victim, and they were able to see that this victim appeared to be in her late teens / early 20s, and she had been partially burned by the fire inside of the car. Now, when looking at her body, detectives were able to see that there were ligature marks on her neck and hemorrhaging around her eyes, indicating that she had been violently strangled. Now, something else that police had noticed was that the victim was not wearing any shoes or jacket. And this was December 19th, and this was Minnesota. You would need to be wearing some sort of layering, some sort of clothing, especially shoes. So this made police question if their victim had been killed in a different location and then placed inside of the car. Now, when they looked into the vehicle, they noticed that there was a phone book found in the back seat of the car, and police believed that the phone book was placed in the back to use as an accelerant in the fire. Now, something else that police discovered in the car was a purse, and inside of the purse was a driver's license, and that driver's license belonged to Kristine Larson. And when police were looking at the photo in the ID of Kristine and looking at their victim, they were able to pretty positively identify that was Kristine Larson in the car. Now, along with that, inside of the purse, there was another picture of Kristine's son, Darian, and there was an empty car seat in the back seat of the car that Kristine was found in. And this worried police and made them wonder where Darian was and what could have possibly happened to him. They had no answers at this time as to where Darian was. For all police knew at this point, something horrible could have potentially happened to him. They didn't know where he was. They couldn't locate him. And so that became a top priority for them at that time as well. Now, at that point, police did speak to the couple who found the car in the back alleyway, and they insisted to police that they did not recognize this car. They didn't know where it came from or why it would be in their driveway, but they were able to narrow down a time frame for police because according to them, they said that the car had to have been placed there sometime between 7:30 and 8 p.m. that night on December 19th. The homeowner actually had said that they had left the house shortly before that time and the car was not there. And when they returned a half hour later, it was. So the car had to have been placed between that half hour period, which did give police a good time frame to look at. Now, Kristine's autopsy showed that her cause of death was strangulation and that she had been strangled by a shoelace that had been found wrapped tightly around her throat. The results also showed that Kristine suffered from a blow to the head, and all in all, the autopsy showed what police had suspected all along, which was that this was a brutal and violent murder, and the car fire was simply just a cover-up. Whoever did this tried to make it seem like Kristine had died in a car fire or had tried to remove any potential evidence and DNA that could have been found in this fire. Now, back at Kristine's family home, her mom and dad were confused as to why Kristine didn't make it back to their house, but it wasn't a huge point of concern. Her dad, Dan, told Deb not to worry because he said that he remembered being 19 years old old too. And since the two of them had work the following morning, they decided to forego the cookies for the night and go to bed. Now, when they got into bed and turned on the TV, they turned on the news, and that is when they saw a report of a teenage girl who had died from a car fire. But naturally, they thought that there was no way that that could be their daughter, because why would they think that? And Deb and Dan remember looking to each other and saying how horrible it would be to be the family, to be the parents of the girl found in the car. But then at approximately 3 a.m., they received a knock on their door, and when they opened it, it was the Minneapolis Police Department. Now, confused, the police and Deb and Dan all sat down in the kitchen, and that is when police broke the tragic news that Kristine had been found murdered. Now, as you can imagine, the heartbreak that came with this news was immense. It was indescribable. Kristine's parents couldn't understand how this happened or why someone would want to do something like this to their daughter. It's honestly a pinch me moment every time I get to talk about this brand, because I am truly such a lover and a fan of them, and have been for so long and will be for the rest of my life. So let's talk about Skims. I have been wearing Skims for years. My closet truly is a testament to that. I may or may not have placed an order about 2 days ago, another little order. And by that, I mean I definitely did. And I cannot wait. I have quickly fallen in love with every collection that Skims puts out, but my favorite is their Fits Everybody line, and specifically the Fits Everybody Intimates. I am not exaggerating when I say that the underwear and bralettes are life-changing, and I am never going back to any other brand. The underwear is a game changer. It is so seamless and incredibly comfortable, and it comes in all of the styles that you could possibly ever dream of. But I have to take a second and really hype up these bralettes, because I personally have always been someone that has struggled with finding bralettes that fit my body right. I feel like I'm either constantly spilling out or I'm having to adjust straps. There's always something wrong, and I'm just never truly comfortable or confident. But that was until I found the Fits Everybody Intimates collection. These intimates melt into your skin and contour your body like they were made just for you. They have the right amount of stretch while still holding you in just right. And being larger chested, I never thought that I was going to be able to feel this level of comfort out of my bralettes, but Skims has gladly proven me wrong, and the quality is unbeatable. I've never felt anything like it. I really am not sure what kind of magic they put in this line. So with the holidays right around the corner, treat yourself or your loved ones to something that they will thank you for a lifetime. We all deserve to feel that level of comfort and confidence in what we're wearing, and the Skims Fits Everybody collection does just that. The Fits Everybody collection is available in sizes extra small to 4X, and you can shop now at skims.com. After you place your order, be sure to let them know that I sent you. Select podcast in the survey, and be sure to select my show in the drop-down menu that follows. And if you're looking for the perfect gifts for the whole family, Skims launched their biggest holiday shop ever, which is also available at skims.com. Now, as you can imagine, at this point, another big concern for Kristine's parents was trying to figure out where Darian was. They too had no clue where Darian was at that point. So they immediately called Zachary, which was Kristine's boyfriend, and he reassured them that he had Darian. Darian was with him. So that was a huge sigh of relief for everyone. That definitely made everyone feel a lot better. And Zachary also told Kristine's parents that he and Kristine actually had plans that day. He said that the two of them had planned to go Christmas shopping with Darian that afternoon, but Kristine never showed up at their scheduled time, which he did think was odd. Now, it was on this phone call that Deb broke the news to Zachary about what had happened to Kristine, and that is when Zachary broke down hysterically. He was crying, he was screaming, he was saying he didn't know what he and Darian were going to do without Kristine. And at the end of the phone call is when Deb invited Zachary and Darian to come stay with them while they navigate through this next phase and through this grieving process. They were all trying to figure out how they were going to put the pieces back together. And Deb and Dan were kind enough to And Deb and Dan were kind enough to extend that invitation to Zachary and Darian to come stay with them, which Zachary agreed to do. Now, at this point, police did ask Deb and Dan some follow-up questions about Kristine and also about her and Zachary's relationship. Now, this is when Kristine's parents disclosed that Kristine and Zachary were actually no longer dating at that point. They had broken up several months earlier, but he was still considered a part of the family, being Darian's father. After having Darian, Kristine and Zachary did end up moving out of Kristine's parents' house, and they moved into an apartment together in St. Paul, Minnesota, which was about 15 minutes away from St. Paul Park. But after moving in, there were some certain behaviors from Zachary that Kristine wasn't loving. Zachary definitely wanted to live more of a party lifestyle than Kristine wanted. Kristine wanted to settle down, have stability, focus on her son, and she didn't love the fact that Zachary wasn't on the same page with her. He would go out late at night with his friends, he would have groups of people over to the apartment. It just wasn't the lifestyle she wanted to surround herself or her son with. So, because of this, Kristine and Zachary ended up breaking up, and Kristine moved back home with her family. Now, as far as the day of the murder, December 19th of 2007, Deb said that the last time that she saw Kristine was at approximately 1:20 p.m. that day. Kristine had told Deb that she was going to drop off her friend Marcella at the local gas station convenience store in the neighborhood, and that after that, she was going to meet Zachary and pick up Darian. So Kristine's plans did consist of having Darian that day, but whatever happened in between then and picking up Darian caused her to not be able to do that. Now, with this information, police then went to the gas station that Kristine dropped Marcella off at, and they pulled the surveillance footage from this gas station. Now, they were able to see Kristine pulling into the gas station, dropping her friend off, and then walking into the convenience store by herself. Kristine is seen purchasing an item, and she appeared to be in good spirits. She was seen joking with the person behind the counter, and then got into her car and drove away, taking a left out of the gas station. And as far as authorities could see, this seemed like a very normal interaction. It seemed like a very normal occurrence, and it didn't seem like anyone was following Kristine or watching Kristine. There was nothing that was suspicious enough that would raise red flags to authorities based off of this surveillance footage. Now, on the morning of December 20th, 2007, police asked Zachary to meet with them for a routine interview to get his version of events. And when Zachary sat down in the interview room at the police station, he explained that him and Kristine had a pretty solid co-parenting relationship. He was close to her family. They still had love for each other, even though they weren't together anymore romantically. And he did state that they did talk about potentially getting back together in the future, but Kristine told Zachary multiple times that she needed stability for her and her son. And again, that was the reason that prompted the breakup in the first place. But again, all in all, he painted their relationship as something that was very positive and something that was loving, and that there was a lot of goodness there, and that something could flourish in the future. It just wasn't happening at that moment. Now, as far as December 19th, Zachary told police that him and Kristine had plans for her to come and pick up Darian at his apartment at 2 p.m., and that the three of them were going to go Christmas shopping at the local Christmas festival. But she never showed up. He said that he called her at approximately 2:15 and that she didn't answer, so he waited around for some time before ultimately deciding to get on a bus and go down to the festival himself with Darian. He claimed that him and Darian got on the bus at approximately 3 p.m. and that they arrived at the festival at 4 p.m. They didn't stay long, but they were there for approximately an hour before going back home for the remainder of the night, where they stayed. Now, police did fact check Zachary's alibi, and they were able to confirm that he did go to the festival that day on December 19th at the times that he said that he did. Now, the way they were able to confirm this was because everyone at the festival had to sign in. There was a sheet that you had to sign in with, and police were able to confirm that he did sign in on this sheet. And there were also witnesses who said that they saw Darian Darian and Zachary at this festival. So because of that, police had to move forward in their investigation. Now, right around this same time of confirming Zachary's alibi, police learn of a new potential lead. They learned through Kristine's friends that Kristine had been seeing a new man around the time of her murder, and that man was named Derek. Police did try and get in contact with Derek to ask him some questions, but that is when they learned that no one could locate Derek. He did not show up to work on December 20th. He wasn't answering any phone calls, so he was technically missing. But that didn't last too long because the following day, on December 21st, police were able to locate him through talking to some of his friends. They were finally able to convince Derek to come down to the police station for a conversation, and when he did that, he explained that the reason that he went MIA was because he was just so distraught over Kristine's murder. Derek explained that the last time he saw Kristine was unexpectedly the day of the 19th. He said that that afternoon, a little after 2:15 p.m., he was walking along the street in St. Paul, which is also where he lived. So both Zachary and Derek lived in St. Paul. He said that when he was walking along the street, he saw Kristine driving in her car. He actually waved Kristine down and she pulled over and explained to Derek that she was on her way to pick up her son. Derek then said that the two casually chit-chatted about getting together either later that night or the following day, and then Kristine drove off. Derek confirmed that Kristine was alone in the car when he saw her, and he also confirmed that nothing appeared to be wrong. Kristine appeared to be in very good spirits. She was happy. She was excited to go get her son, but police did struggle believing Derek's story because they believe that his behavior of disappearing the day after the murder was very suspicious. And not only that, Derek is now placing himself as being one of the last known people to have seen Kristine before her murder. Now, for police to get their answers, police looked into Derek's cell phone records to see if he was anywhere near where Kristine was found on the night of the murder. But Derek's phone was pinging to be exactly where he claimed that he was, which was again nowhere near Kristine. So because his story was checking out, police were back to square one. Even though they didn't understand Derek's behavior, there was no evidence other than him going MIA for that period of time to point to him actually being responsible for this. So at this point, police were trying to theorize how their suspect, whoever that was, could have fled the scene. But that is when they realized that nearby the home where Kristine's body was discovered was a highway. It was Interstate 94, and they decided to look into the 911 records to see if anyone had called in for any suspicious behavior on Interstate 94 on the night of December 19th. They wanted to see if there was any report of reckless driving, someone trying to speed away, or just anything that was simply off-putting, and lo and behold, there was. Someone had called into 911 to report that there was a male who had been walking alongside of the freeway on Interstate 94, and he was walking away from Minneapolis, which was where Kristine's body was found, and in the direction of St. Paul. Now, at this point, police decided to look into Zachary's cell phone records and saw that Zachary's phone painted a very different picture than what he originally did. Zachary's phone showed that he was, in fact, not home for the entirety of the night as he had originally stated, but he was around the area of Interstate 94. And so with this, Zachary does become police's prime suspect, and that prime suspect was also now living in Kristine's parents' home at the time, because if you remember, Deb and Dan had invited Zachary to live in their home with them at that point after the murder because they wanted to be able to all grieve together and have Darian in one place. Now their prime suspect is living with their victim's parents. But because Zachary was not home, this did give police ample opportunity to get a search warrant and search through Zachary's apartment without him really having any opportunity to change anything or hide anything. It really gave them free rein. And so that is exactly what they did. And one of the first things that they discovered when walking into Zachary's apartment were the multiple phone books that were found. Now, this set off alarm bells because if you remember, police discovered a phone book inside of Kristine's burning car that they believe was used as an accelerant. And these were the exact same phone books. Now, as police continued to walk into the apartment, they also discovered what appeared to be blood on the walls. Police then used luminol testing to confirm that this was in fact blood, but also discovered that it appeared as if someone had attempted to clean up that blood. Now, there was also more blood discovered on Zachary's mattress in his bedroom and in other places throughout the apartment. But not only that, while searching, police also discovered a letter inside of Zachary's apartment. And this was a 4-page handwritten letter from Zachary to Kristine. Now, obviously, this letter had never been sent, but in the letter, Zachary describes his desires to get back together with Kristine. He talks about how he misses their relationship and how he promises to be a better version of himself for both her and their son. And this letter definitely painted a different picture about Zachary and Kristine's relationship than what Zachary had told detectives. Zachary told police that he was happy that Kristine had moved on and was in a new relationship with Derek, and that they had a great co-parenting relationship, and that they were both in a good spot in their lives, but that clearly was not the case. This letter was not coming from someone who was happy to see Kristine move on. Now, the last and probably most damning piece of evidence in this case was what police found when searching through Zachary's closet. Inside of Zachary's closet, police discovered a pair of shoes, and one of those shoes was missing its laces. And if you remember, when Kristine's body was discovered, she was found with a shoelace wrapped around her neck. Now, that shoelace was taken from the crime scene and sent off to the lab, and police were awaiting DNA results from that shoelace. But at this point, with all of these new findings, police wanted to speak to Zachary again. Now, the detectives called Kristine's parents at this point. They thought it was important to keep them updated on their findings. And that is when they told them that at that point in the investigation, Zachary was their prime suspect. Now, while Kristine's parents were receiving this news, Zachary was about 15 feet away from them in the other room. Now, Kristine's parents said that when receiving this news, they tried their best to keep their composure. And after the phone call, they walked into the living room and informed Zachary that the police wanted to speak with him again. Now, you can only imagine the frustration, the pent up heartbreak, the confusion that is running through Kristine's parents' minds at this point, understanding that it's very possible that they opened the door to their daughter's killer. Now, when her parents did explain to Zachary that police wanted to talk to him again, her parents said that he appeared very frustrated at this point. He claimed that he wanted this whole investigation to be over with and done with, but he did go down to the station within that same hour to answer more questions. Now, once in the interrogation room with the detectives, Zachary denied absolutely everything. He repeated his story over and over again, but police were very blunt with him, and they told him that they knew that he was lying. And this back and forth between him saying that he didn't do it and the police calling him out for lying, this lasted a very long time. It lasted approximately 3 hours before police decided that they needed to change their tactics. They ended up using the letter that Zachary had written to their advantage. And they told Zachary that they saw this letter and they knew that this letter must have came from someone who absolutely loved Kristine, and that clearly Kristine must have done something to make him upset. And when they saw that letter, they knew that Zachary did have a heart and that he did really love her. And obviously, this was all a tactic. It was manipulation tactic by police, but it did work on Zachary to an extent. Zachary, once hearing this from police, he completely changed his story. He broke down and said to police, quote unquote, "I found her." After saying those three words, he then went on to say that he discovered Kristine's dead body in his apartment inside of his closet. And according to him, he said he got so scared when he discovered her body that he decided to put her in the car, drive 10 miles to where the car was found, but he did deny ever lighting the car on fire. He claimed he then walked the 10 miles back to his apartment where he originally had left and left Darian alone. Zachary kept repeating that he didn't know what had happened, but assumed that someone must have broken into his apartment when he wasn't there and killed Kristine, put her body in the closet. And in addition to all of this, he's also saying that when he dropped off the car with Kristine's body in it, that someone else must have lit the car on fire. So from Zachary's perspective, someone else killed her, someone else put her in the closet, and someone else lit the car on fire. Now, even though this wasn't a full confession, it was still enough for police to piece together what they believe to have actually happened on the afternoon of December 19th of 2007. Detectives believed that Kristine did in fact arrive to Zachary's apartment very shortly after she saw Derek at approximately 2:15 in the afternoon. They believe that once Kristine walked into the apartment, Zachary either attempted to talk about reconciliation of their relationship or some sort of talk of their romantic status, and they believe that Kristine did not want to repair this relationship and that she was happy with where she was at, and that she told Zachary this. They then believe that Zachary had the mindset of, if I can't have Kristine, then no one can. They believe that the entire murder occurred in his apartment while his son was there. It's then believed, based off of the timeline of what we know, again, we know that Zachary and Darian went to that Christmas festival at approximately 4:00 p.m. Police believe that Zachary left Kristine's body inside of his apartment, went to the Christmas fair to create an alibi, returned home, transported her body into her car, drove her car to Minneapolis while leaving Darian at home, and then found somewhere random to drop the car off and lit the car on fire in hopes that it would erase any damage or any identification of Kristine in general. So, with all this, on December 24th, 2007, Christmas Eve, Zachary was officially arrested and charged with the murder of Kristine Larson. And by October 2008, he was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. As far as where we are at today in this case, Kristine's parents have been raising her son Darian ever since Kristine's life was taken, and they continue to do all that they can to honor Kristine's memory and to remind Darian about Kristine and the love that she had for her son. And actually, Derek, Kristine's former boyfriend, has also had a pretty significant role in Darian's life as well. Derek has said that he wanted Darian to have a strong male role model and someone to look up to in his life, and he has tried his best to fulfill that role. And I just wanted to throw that in there because I think that's a very special, special thing. So, with that being said, you guys, that is the case of Kristine Larson. I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say about this one. What do you believe happened? What do you believe happened that led up to the murder? I told you the police's theory, but I want to hear yours. Obviously, to this day, Zachary still denies having any involvement in the murder itself, but I want to know what you think. So, with that being said, you guys, that is all for me today. Again, all Patreon links, all Patreon information will be in the description box below. It'll be pinned in the comments on YouTube. It'll be everywhere on social media. Anywhere that you could think you could find it, you will be able to find it. I promise you. And there's a new episode out today on Patreon, and there will also be one out tomorrow as well. So again, that is all for me today, you guys. Make sure you are subscribed here if you haven't already. Again, we post every single Wednesday on the podcast and also upload the video versions onto YouTube on Wednesdays as well. So make sure you are subscribed. I'll be back next week with a brand new one for you guys. And until then, stay safe. Bye, guys.